Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC 260 Miocic versus Ngannou 2. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card and our first fight on the prelims. So in our first fight, we have in the welterweight division, Gooden versus Abubakar Nurmagomedov. But yeah, that name's kind of a mouthful. Abubakar Nurmagomedov versus Gooden. So looking at this one, I was actually kind of going to see a little bit of pathway for Gooden to win. I thought he had like a better wrestling background than he did, or even had one. And I just thought he was a more well-rounded fighter, and that he might be able to stuff some of the takedowns of Nurmagomedov and then just outstrike him. I thought that was past. Even though Gooden's fluidity in his striking needs a lot of juice and not a lot of oil because he's kind of stiff with his striking, but it needs a lot more fluidity. I thought that might be his path to victory. It still could be his path to victory, but looking back at some of his fights, his wrestling defense isn't all that good, and he has not really proven it, and definitely hasn't fought the level of wrestler that Nurmagomedov is. So if you're already struggling with wrestlers in your past in fights, and now you're going against a guy who's probably by far the best wrestler you have faced, you can't really lean to a guy when he hasn't really shown that polish or that improvement, or to a significant extent for you to lean to him. So I'm going to lean to Abubakar Nurmagomedov in this one. Like I do, I think Gooden is the better striker, but I don't think it's like by a mile or anything. He's not no K1 striker. He's not no guy that just has it like that. Like I said, he got a little bit of power, but not consistent power. I think the best thing to say, he has some heavy hands. Like his shots might not have the most pop in them, but even them looking like flat and stiff, they're going to swell you up and you'll feel them, but definitely not fast, definitely not pop. Definitely not super heavy, but like his hands just heavy. He's just a muscular bound guy that got some. His hands just happen to be heavy, but his striking is stiff and lacks fluidity. But better striker, but not by a mile. And actually, Abubakar Nurmagomedov is the more well-rounded fighter, not Gooden. So I think Gooden will have some success on the feet here and there, but not enough, not nearly enough. And Nurmagomedov. I was gonna say Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov is gonna be aggressive with his wrestling and find success early and often in this one, and really pin Gooden to the ground in this one. Gooden's gonna might stuff a couple takedowns here and there, have some success, but shortly after be taken back down to the ground. And then even at portions of the fight, maybe get caught with shots off Nurmagomedov feigning a takedown, land shots, and then feigning again, then going for a shot, and just keep dragging back to the ground and grinding out a decision over Gooden. So in this one, I have Abubakar Nurmagomedov via decision. Now on to our next fight. We have in the women's flyweight division, Jillian Robertson versus Miranda Maverick. And how I see this one right here. Robertson has some solid BJJ, but she's mainly a front runner. Like that's really what she is. She's a front runner. And also she's not the most durable fighter. So like she's a front runner who's not the most durable. And when she's outmatched in a way, or somebody has a grappling edge over her, she looks less than stellar. And going against Miranda Maverick, I'm going to say Maverick's a better BJJ fighter than her. She's definitely not, but she's the better wrestler, and she can control whether this fight goes to the ground or not. And Robertson's going to have issues getting to the ground. And outside of that, Maverick is bigger, even though she is clean with her striking as Robertson. Just being bigger and physical, a lot of times all you need. Like when she fought Macy Barber, at that time Barber wasn't the cleanest on her feet and really didn't even approach her in the cleanest way. She just manhandled her like this and forced her will upon her. It wasn't even a case like it was so technical. She just crowded her space and just ran through her on the feet. So even though Robertson might be clean or technical, she's a fighter that can be crowded, couldn't be bullied, and couldn't be put out in there. I feel like Maverick is going to be fighting at a higher pace on the feet, not as technical, but more physical, more in your face, and forcing her will upon Robertson. I don't think she stops it, but I do think she'd be about a decision. And like I said, Maverick's going to control whether the fight goes to the ground or not, and she's going to be more aggressive and more active on the feet. Not as technical, but more aggressive, more active, and that's going to win her the fight. And also, she might make some takedowns here and there and get some control time and neutralize the submission game of Robertson and just keep her pinned to the ground at time. But really, this will be her really just simply outworking and forcing her will upon Robertson. So in this one, I have Miranda Maverick via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, middleweight division, Azaitar versus Marc-Andre Barriault. And you might look at it and say Barriault is the more well-rounded fighter, but really, he's been getting taken down and out-grappled by everybody he's fought. And the only guy he's beat in the UFC was Oscar Pichota or Pichota. And that don't really say much. Pichota, I think, should have been cut, if not already has been cut. They both were riding losing streaks. And in that fight, he tested positive for a PED. So that fight turned out no contest. So I don't think he has a single win inside the UFC. He definitely gave a lot of people good fights, but he has not been able to do what it takes to win a fight. And Abu Azaitar is in the right place, training with a lot of good wrestlers that are much better than Barriault to defend those takedowns. He already had a good takedown defense as it was. And then he's just a different level of striker. Barriault might sometimes look like a high-level striker, but really he's just a guy that I feel mimics. Like he might be a good drilling fighter as far as, just running through the drills, but as far as striking IQ, his striking IQ isn't the highest. He's a guy that really thrives off needing a pace and needing a pattern and needing openings. When he's not comfortable at all, his striking drops heavily. So he needs to set a pace. If he's not on a pace, he's really insufficient on the feet, really lacking on the feet. And against Azaitar is a world-class striker that can find openings off his back foot, off his front foot, at angles, heavier striker, sharper striker, and he doesn't need, that comfort that Barriault needs to get into his game. And I don't feel Barriault, if he's not finding success with his wrestling, which I don't feel like he will, then he's not gonna be finding that comfortability on his feet. And the same way, if he's not finding comfortability, like in the Park fight, he was getting dominated, he was getting taken down, he was getting outstruck until Park, let off the gas, and then he kind of came rallied late in the third round. It wasn't much of a rally, but it was enough to maybe take that round. But he wasn't able to get his groove until pretty much his opponents took off the gas. And this one, I don't feel Azaitar taking off the gas in this one. I just feel like Azaitar is going to be able to stuff the takedowns, walk him down, outstrike him, and beat him to a decision. I think Barriault is good enough to make it to a decision. I think he's tough enough. He has heart, but I think he is the more well-rounded fighter. But I don't think he's going to be able to enforce, the wrestling or really be able to mix his skill set up full game to get the victory in this one. I think Azaitar is going to neutralize his wrestling and then just outstrike him, put him on the back foot, and beat him to a decision. So in this one, I have Abu Azaitar via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our prelim headliner in the light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas versus Mikhail Oleksiejcuk. So we're looking at this one. Bukauskas is coming up from middleweight, came up and got knocked out by Jimmy Crute in the first round. He's coming up. I think he's a taller, actually even more physically built fighter than Mikhail Oleksiejcuk. Oleksiejcuk is a skinny, fat guy who I think about 6 feet or maybe 5'11", maybe 6. Well, I'm gonna say 6 feet or 5'11". That's his real height. Sometimes people be boosting. He's one of those people. He's kind of skinny, fat guy that's really trim that off and be a welterweight. But he's in a dilemma where he's not technical enough to really thrive at welterweight. Nor would he have a big size advantage cutting down the welterweight, and he'll lose his speed advantage. Then middleweight, pretty much the same thing. Wouldn't be able to really thrive in middleweight. At light heavyweight, he can beat a couple people just with his speed and technique, which is, holds up a little bit more at light heavyweight than it would at middleweight or welterweight. And but the issue with him at this weight class is these guys, if they're gonna wrestle him, they will have success wrestling him like what OSP did on the ground, was able to put him in the Von Fluke, or I said Von Fluke, yeah, it's Von Fluke, or Von Flu choke, and Jimmy Crute was able to put a wrestling clinic on him, and I think tap him out as well. So when these bigger guys really put their weight on him or really lock up with him, they're gonna realize how small and weak this guy is at this weight class. But that's not the case with Bukauskas. I say all this to say all of that. But Bukauskas is a guy that also doesn't really favor grappling too much, so this should be a striking matchup. And I just think Oleksiejcuk is the cleaner, tighter striker between the two. Better fundamentals on the feet. Keep his defense and striking offense blend better together. With Bukauskas, head movement, he looked like a pole, shaped like a pole, head looked like a pole. And he stays up stiff. His head movement has improved since like some of the fights I watched prior to him entering the UFC. But still an issue, especially the Crute fight show that those issues are still there. He don't move that head. Sometimes drop those hands a lot. And a guy like Oleksiejcuk, tight guard, clean, short hooks to the body, come up top. I think the striking match is going to favor him. I feel like Bukauskas is going to want to keep him on the outside. He has improved his jab, and we'll have some success with that early on. But once Oleksiejcuk start getting inside, he's going to be finding that access quite often and be able to get to the body, come up top, and catch Bukauskas on the chin that's not really moving, a target that's not really moving anywhere. And I see him putting Bukauskas out in the second round. So in this one, I got Mikhail Oleksiejcuk via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Jamie Mullarkey versus Kama Worthy. And how I see this one right here. Mullarkey, just straight up on the point to this one. Mullarkey is a very underrated solid fighter, but underrated, what does that really mean a lot of times? Like, you're good, but you're not good enough. You're underrated, but you're not severely underrated. He is a relentless with grappling. Got some pretty decent striking, but not nothing to write home about. Good overall skill set, but really it comes down to his heart and work rate. Tough guy, can wrestle and grapple you all day, but that's not really the best submission artist or best finishing artist, especially not at this level. And Kama Worthy has shown, like, especially in the Luis Pina fight and maybe another fight where, like Luis Pina was trying to be on him and smother him, take him down, and then eventually he started to stuff a lot of Pina's takedown. And eventually, when it took advantage of Pina's aggressiveness with his takedowns, or eagerness with his takedowns, or overexertion, and was able to tap out Luis Pina, or Crazy Bob Ross, but or violent, not crazy violent, but I'm thinking Crazy Bob Cook. It's violent Bob Ross, but yeah, and that's why I think Kama Worthy is a much better striker. Definitely has much more power on his feet. And really, the issue with Worthy, when you look at a lot of his losses, it's not a guy that's going to wrestle him. That even before, when you look at it, when he was kind of a journeyman, 500 fighter almost, his issue was people with clean technical striking, or clean enough striking and heavy hands that could touch him, because his striking defense wasn't the best. But neither is Mullarkey. Mullarkey doesn't have the heaviest hands, and Worthy has the heavier hands. He's the bigger fighter, the cleaner striker. And I think he has the ability to stay calm and stay patient, address what Mullarkey's doing in the grappling, and then find his opportunities on the feet and take full advantage of them. And then start to shut down Mullarkey's takedowns, and then just pick apart him on the feet. Probably like every single fight with Mullarkey probably comes on strong early and has some success, but Worthy being able to stay patient, stay calm as he has in the past through the adversity early on. Well, really, it's not going to be adversity, just control, if anything. And then start to let the fight settle down, find his way back, his escapes, get back to his feet, or his submission attempts, and get back to his feet. And then start to land on Mullarkey, who's not going to be a hard target to hit. And then once Mullarkey starts to feel that power, his takedown accuracy is going to start to drop. Where it's going to be either stuff the takedown or get back to his feet quicker, and start to land. From there, it's going to be a rinse repeat. And I see him putting him out in the second round. So in this one, I got Kama Worthy via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Thomas Almeida versus Sean O'Malley. And how I see this one right here. Almeida had some issues and injuries outside the cage, and he took some time off, and in that time, the division passed him away. I didn't say passed him away, passed him by. And I think he's still a solid fighter, still can beat a lot of people, but definitely not top 5 or top 10 talent right now, and probably never will be again in this division. Probably never will. But I'm not going to write him off. Well, I ain't writing him off, but Almeida versus O'Malley. We worry about O'Malley's legs, and Almeida does have some decent kicks to maybe take advantage of that. But Almeida is too easy to hit. He's a guy that's like a straightforward fighter, like a tunnel vision almost. Like that's a good thing and a bad, very bad thing for him. Like if you're in front of him, he can chew you up and just spit you out and like destroy you. But if you could make any angles or moving, he's gonna have issues. And also he's easy to hit, an easy target to hit. Now you're gonna get a longer, faster, sharper, better striker in Sean O'Malley, who can move those feet, who can fight from angles, attack from angles, stick and move, and gonna be too fast, too long, too strong. So you got the glass chin versus the glass legs, but I think O'Malley can beat him. His punches could beat Almeida's kicks all day, and Almeida is not gonna be a hard target to hit at all. And it's not like he has super amazing counters. He does have some decent counters at the time, but O'Malley with his limb and fighting at the end of his punches, not gonna be there for those counters. And with his foot movements, he's not gonna be there for Almeida to hit too often. I just really think Sean O'Malley puts on a statement performance, and just, like I said, too quick, too fast, too long. Got a hittable target Almeida, who's just a straightforward fighter and not going to have that ability to cut off or really find O'Malley as much as he needs to get a victory in this one. And I think Sean O'Malley puts him out in that second round, just finding opening, splitting him through his guard, coming up with uppercuts, coming up with ones, twos, coming around, coming over top, and just really just, like I said, stunning on him, putting on the show and putting him out in that second round. So in this one, I got Sean O'Malley via second round TKO. Now to our co-main event, we have in the welterweight division, Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. So we got the former welterweight champion versus Vicente Luque. And right now, Luque is a favorite by a good portion. I think even if you really factor in everything, he should never be that big of a favorite over Woodley. Especially given that he almost lost to Mike Perry and almost lost to Nico Price. In the first fight, he destroyed Nico Price. Second fight, it probably was gonna be a split decision if he didn't stop him like in the very last couple minutes. But he got to stop it over. Mike Perry fight. So he's pretty much two C-level fighters in that he really came close to potentially losing to in Mike Perry and Nico Price. And also with Luque, he's not a guy that's like, he's not championship. He's not championship potential. If he fought Leon Edwards, like he's one of the better strikers in the division. But if he fought one away 100 times, he'll probably lose 98 times. If he fought Leon Edwards 100 times, he probably lose 98 times or 99 times or 97 or 95. So, and then I don't know where I'm going. In this case is like they're really not a path to title for him. He can definitely beat Woodley just for the main fact that Woodley isn't active enough and is downtrending. That's all it is. But when you look at the people that Woodley lost to in the last 3 fights, he lost to Usman, who probably might go on to be, well, at this point, he probably is the second best welterweight of all time. Well, you guys still got to respect Matt Hughes, but if he fought Matt Hughes, we all know Usman would absolutely destroy Matt Hughes. But prime in with new training, he would destroy any version of Matt Hughes that ever was. But so he lost to Usman, one of the best of all time. Colby Covington, even though he doesn't have an actual belt or never held the actual belt, one of the best welterweights of all time. And then Gilbert Burns, probably one of the best welterweights of all time. But definitely both of those three are the best 3 fighters in the division at this moment until somebody changes that. And maybe throw Leon Edwards somewhere in there at 4 or maybe switch somebody out and put Leon Edwards in the 3. But those are the best guys in the division. And Luque, I would say, is nowhere near those people as far as Luque is probably top 10. Oh, he's definitely top 10. But to get to the point at this one right here, I think Luque's another guy that kind of thrives off people keeping people in front of him. And also suffer from lack of defense. Too easy to hit. If he let Nico Price land too many clean shots. And also another thing where I'm gonna go with this one is that Luque allowed Mike Perry to have like 3 minutes of control, 3 minutes and 40 seconds of control time in their fight in that third round. So that's the issue. I think he got taken down or either taken down or ended on his back and spent too much time on it. And like all of his last 4 wins actually. So I think Nico Price was able to get a takedown over him. Even last dude he fought. So I worry about his wrestling defense in this one. And in the past he has been lost the fight to Graves got taken down 7 times in control. And Willie is a better wrestler than anyone he's ever fought. But then you got to worry about Willie's cardio. And in fact, will he even push to go for takedown? Also, this is a 3-round fight, so it's not a 5-round fight. So Willie might actually get more active in this one with a different style. And actually, as a matter of fact, I think Willie's will be open to take more takedowns. And I think he will have success when against Luque. I think Luque is just open down the middle. And that's what Willie wants to do. He wants to find an open and fire down the middle. And Luque is not going to block. I mean, he's not really ever really covering the middle like that. And even at times, Willie could find stuff around the center. I mean, around the outside. But I just think to get to the point. I mean, I would keep saying get to the point in this one because I'm going off on this one. But like I said, that's the issue with Luque is allowing people to take him down, control time. Willie being the wrestler that he is, being the caliber he is, and also this has been a 3-round fight and not a 5-round fight. And the level of people that Willie has lost to, I think Willie will be able to find shots down the middle, will be able to crack Luque, and will be able to find takedowns and win a competitive fight. Luque is definitely going to be bringing it, but Willie will as well. I don't see Willie have any issues with Luque's wrestling. Find him be able to take takedowns score takedowns on Luque, land big shots on Luque, and win a firefight. Close decision over Luque in this one. So in this one, I got Tyron Woodley via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the heavyweight division, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou 2. So they fought before. Miocic was able to weather early storm, then use his fight IQ, use his forward skill set, mixing his wrestling, started to take Ngannou down, started to slip some of his shots and catch him some counters and just really wrestle him heavy and grind out a decision over him. Now they're fighting again. A lot has changed, but really on Ngannou's side, I have not seen a whole lot change. It's looking like the same thing as his first run. Matter of fact, in his first run, he had a submission victory in that run. But in this run, it's been still, again, quick first round knockouts. Nothing has changed as far as what we have seen from Ngannou in the cage necessarily. Maybe in a training camp, we see him bringing in wrestlers and trying to work on that game, bringing Kamaru Usman just to probably coach him and stuff, and maybe work with him on little things and bring in some heavyweight wrestlers and stuff. That's like, it's the right thing to do. But my issue with that is you can bring in and train with stuff all the time, but have you faced that adversity in the cage in a real life situation? And it's a good and bad thing for Ngannou, because maybe it's a good thing because maybe he will, when the time comes, be ready for it. Or it could be the case of he's trained it, but when it's in your face in a fight with all that pressure on you, it's a whole different story. So that's the concerns for Ngannou. And also, Miocic has been more active than Ngannou. That is another factor. Ngannou's been waiting on this title shot, so Miocic's actually the fresher fighter. And Miocic is the one who actually had to make adjustments. He was this close to going, being 0-2 against Cormier in that second fight. Cormier knocked him out the first fight and was close to this going to another victory and being 2 up. Like, it's 2 up and out, and Miocic probably just having to walk away from the sport because the guy who had the belt beat him twice and really almost in dominated fashion both times. And then was able to make mid-fight adjustments in that second fight and put Cormier away, and then fought Cormier again, could improve upon on the stuff that helped him win that first fight. The second fight, and was able to beat Cormier via decision. And then staple himself is this fully established that he is the best heavyweight in definitely UFC history all time. So he's made adjustments. So he had to make mid-fight adjustments, and we have not seen Ngannou do that. We have not seen Ngannou have to go all these rounds and win a hard-fought fight. He fought definitely one hard-fought fight, or 2 fights that went to decision, and he lost both of them. He fought a decision against Miocic and got dominated. Fought Derek Lewis was gunshot, lost. So in the one fight that really was high intense, dig deep type fight, he lost. He was flat. And you can make excuses, but at the end of the day, you still lost. No matter how you cut it, you lost in that fight. So I feel like Miocic has made more adjustments, has shown more improvements, has changed his style. I worry about Miocic cutting weight and trying to be slimmer and trimmer and faster and sharper, which might allow him not to be able to wear shots as much, and you're going against the heaviest hitter in probably in MMA history or UFC history. And cutting weight, maybe that might be the best thing. It might help him move his feet better, it might make him move his head better, but all it takes is one shot. Another thing I'm going to say is, historically, you never really see heavy hitters or like guys that just, those knockout beasts, really become the undisputed champions, whether it be in boxing, kickboxing, or anything. Usually the more technical guys, smarter guys, the higher fighting guys always win the belt. Those knockout guys might be scary and run through the division, but they always come through to eventually the more technical guy or the smarter guy who might not be scary, might have struggled more to get to the top. But those guys find ways because they face adversity and they have more tools and more paths to victory. And they find ways to shut down and break these knockout guys. And that's been historic, like boxing, kickboxing, MMA. We have not really seen a guy like Rumble Johnson could run through the division. But when he comes to Cormier or come to whoever had the belt, well, he only fought Cormier, but no matter who it would have been, if it's a guy with a higher fight IQ and more around it, will lose to a decision to them historically, or break, and they'll find a way to beat him. But he can run through the rest of the division. But when it comes to getting the belt, it just doesn't happen. But you see where I'm going with that. But to get to the point of this one, I think Ngannou, like I said, he's trying to make the improvements, but has not faced adversity in the cage and have to show these improvements. And I'm sure he's getting better, but I feel like Stipe Miocic showed more improvement than Ngannou has shown. And he's a champion, and he's the guy who won the first fight. We know he could go 5 rounds. We know he can take, if he can survive, you got to put him out. As long as he has breath, as long as he has consciousness, he's going to be fighting. With Ngannou, we see him just, he definitely didn't just quit and just tap out or nothing, but we just saw him fall flat and just not be able to do anything and just get laid on to a decision, just get outworked to a decision and not really have no more dog or fight to try to get a victory, but more so just survive or not even have energy to really do anything. So in this one, I still think Miocic's the better wrestler, easily. Striker, better striker. And Ngannou could talk about his technical stuff, but look at the Jairzinho fight. He might say that was set up and this and that, but he realized he hasn't shown no clean technique in his fights outside the Blaze fight. It's still been this sloppy run and knock you out type stuff. But again, to get to the point, I just think Stipe Miocic is the more well-rounded fighter. I think he might, face adversity early on, and at portions, really, if any time Ngannou gets lands, clean or unclean, those type of adversity situations, whether it be kicks or punches. And I think if Ngannou wants to throw kicks, that might just lead to him getting taken down even easier. But really, I think Miocic is going to have to weather some early adversity and maybe some late adversity here and there. But I think the improvements to his footwork is going to make him an even harder target for Ngannou to hit. And with the improved movement and lighter being lighter, trimmer, and working on the find our foot movements, be able to find better angles for shots. Come over top. And I just really think he puts on a statement in this one and puts Ngannou out in like the third, now say the fourth round. Early on, some adversity, maybe not getting a takedown, they're not being able to secure them. But eventually being able to start laying counters on Ngannou once the fight starts settling down. Getting Ngannou to respect him. Getting Ngannou gun shy. Hurting Ngannou. Then start to secure some takedowns. Then start to ground and pound him into like the second and third round. And in that fourth round, really have him broken down and put him out in that fourth round via TKO. So in this one, I have Stipe Miocic via fourth round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of UFC 260 Miocic versus Ngannou 2. And as always, thanks for watching.